Hello and welcome to Studio Bilby. Today I'm going to be taking you along as I do an at-home reupholstery job on a simple Kmart chair. I've had this chair for a few years and it was becoming that clothes dumping chair in the corner of my bedroom, so I decided to give it a little makeover, make it more unique, and hopefully it won't be my wardrobe anymore. If you want to know how I did it, or you want to have a go at reupholstering one of your own chairs, keep watching for the step-by-step process. I started by removing the wooden frame and then used a flathead screwdriver and pliers to remove all the staples from the base of the chair, being careful to preserve the base cover pieces as I'll be reusing them later. I then removed the screws joining the seat and the back of the chair. Now that I have the chair in two separate pieces, I can remove the rest of the staples. Next, I removed the covers from the chair, seat and back, leaving all the padding since it's still in good condition and I won't be replacing it, but you can replace it if needed. Once you've removed the cover pieces from the chair, you can start making the template for your new cover. I decided to label each individual piece at this point so that I would remember how to put everything back together later. I would also highly recommend taking photos of your cover pieces at this stage so that you can have a clear guide on how to reconstruct your pieces. Now it's time to unpick the seams so that you can use the individual pieces of the cover as pattern pieces. You can use a seam ripper for this. I just used a pair of embroidery scissors because my seam ripper is super blunt. This is a bit of a long and tedious process, so make sure that you have something to watch and a nice hot drink. Then I just ironed everything out nice and flat. Now, because I like to make my life difficult, I decided to do a checkered patchwork cover, so this requires a few extra steps, but if you're just using one type of fabric, you can skip straight to step 4. For the checkered patchwork, I used 2 tones of fluffy faux Sherpa fabric and measured and cut out 20cm wide strips all the way across on each. I should mention that I'm giving myself a seam allowance of about 1 cm for this entire project, so the finish width ends up to be around 18 centimeters. I then placed the strips in alternating colours and pinned and sewed lengthways, right sides facing. Once all my long strips were sewn together, I marked out 20cm intervals going down the length of the strips. I then cut along the marked lines. Now we can flip every second strip of fabric, and that will give us the checkered pattern. Once again, pin the strips together, right sides facing, first matching the seams to ensure a neat checker pattern, and then sew the strips lengthwise. Now we're up to creating the cover. First I laid out the checkered fabric right side down, and then I placed and pinned the cover template pieces on top. I then cut out my new pattern pieces and started reassembling based on the original construction of the cover. Here's where your reference photos come in handy. In this case, I started with the seat cover, pinning and sewing the seat side panels to the front piece, right sides facing. Next up, I pinned and sewed the base bits of the chair back, I don't know what you would call them, and then attached them to the bottom of the front piece, right sides facing. Then it was time to attach the front and back pieces of the chair back. I know, confusing, right? I feel like I could have come up with some better names for them, but oh well. Finally, it's time to attach the side panels of our chair back. I pinned them all the way around, right sides facing, and sewed everything together to complete my back cover. Now that we have both the seat and back cover complete, it's finally time to put our chair back together. First up, I placed the seat cover over the seat piece and put it to one side. The back cover was a little more tricky since I had to pull it all the way down over the back and it was quite tight, but we got there in the end. Now time to stretch and staple. I started with the seat and stretched and stapled once on the center of each edge, and then kept rotating, stretching, and adding more staples on either side of the center staple. Sort of a similar process to stretching a canvas if you've ever done that, but I was never very good at it, so I'm probably not one to talk. Remember those base pieces? Well, it's time to add them back in. The base was half velcroed on and I didn't really understand why, so I considered skipping that step and just stapling the whole base on, but I'm glad I didn't because I realized later that you need the velcro opening to access the screws inside when reassembling the chair. Next up, I stapled the edges of the back cover onto the chair frame and added the base piece over that one too. So I screwed the seat and back together in the same way that I dismantled them, and as you can see, this is where the Velcro came in handy. Now for the final step, reassembling the frame. I just screwed the wooden frame pieces back on and voila! If you enjoyed watching and want to see more creative videos like this, don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye!